I thought this was so fascinating. I think a lot of you will appreciate this because I have a lot of hobbies that I'm very invested in and very sweaty in, and some things where I'm a little bit more laid back, a little bit more casual about. I think this tweet thread was very interesting to me, which was the toxic thing video games instilled in my mind is that being in the top 1% of something is that you're bad at it. You need to be in the top 0.03, top 0.01, top point, like top 1%. You rank up in Marvel Rivals. If that shit doesn't say top 99.7 percentile of players, like you're trash. And I think that's how a lot of people think about their hobbies. They're like, if I get into this, if I'm not legend rank, if I don't have this, I'm bad. Followed by the non-toxic and actually positive takeaway is that it takes very little time investment to get okay at something and a lifetime to master almost anything. You can realistically be in top 10% of any skill you want in a few months of actual practice. I don't think I've ever played a game or like a thing where like if I didn't sweat in it for 2 months or something or 3 months, that I couldn't be top 10% of it. As like a competitive person who has learned a lot of other competitive things in my life, it depends on the thing. But I believe in you guys. And I believe in myself. If you're sweating in something for like 2 months, I think you get pretty good at it. And I think it's because if we peel back a layer, it's okay to be okay. Most people are not sweating. They're playing for fun. Not worried too much about improvement. They're just enjoying the game. And that is perfectly normal and fine. If you tried hard, you're already part of a very small percentile of people. And if you tried really hard and focused for a lot of time, you could probably get there, right? That's sort of the point that I think is trying to be extrapolated. This right here, right? This is from last February. Top 10% is making it to master. Most of the slammers who play Street Fighter very seriously, they all make it to master. These people are getting coached. They've got viewers to help them. They've got dedicated people to help them. And they're playing for like 2 to 3 weeks, right? So they have a different experience than most people. Someone says like, I have 1,300 hours and I'm only Diamond 3. A lot of people probably have more hours than that and they're not even Diamond because they're not trying to win. Their goal is not to do that. They're just playing. If you had a coach for like 2 weeks and you locked in and played, I bet you could hit master no problem. If you were like locked in and motivated and you had time to grind, like I have no doubt. For everybody, you have a different expectation of where you should be and what your goal should be and how good you're supposed to be after X amount of time. The internet makes you see people who are legitimate prodigies. You watch Punk and within 10 minutes, he's legend with your main and he's not even doing good combos. He's not even doing any hard stuff. And you're like, oh, you're just like, I'm so ass. The thing is that it's okay because he is a professional where it's his job to play the game. That's all he does. And he's a savant and like a generational talent in the game. You and him are not the same. You're different people with different goals and different expectations. You're not being fair to yourself. You're being actually quite mean to yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy, but it's true. Like you're comparing yourself to the wrong person. The most important thing, figure out what you want to do with something. Do you want to play it casually? Do you want to get good at it? Do you have goals? Do you just want to land the funny command grab? Be a silly, goofy guy? Like, what's your objective? And figure that out. And as long as you got that, you're chilling. It's more normal to be the person who's like, I'm just playing on the weekend, having fun, and I'm going to play Zangief for a bit, have my matches in gold, and just chill. Then be Punk. He is the outlier, not you. And not only that, but he's probably stressed. Imagine being Punk locked in playing Street Fighter. If he wins, he gets like +2 MR. If he loses, it's -16 or whatever. Fighting for his life to get legend, and he's probably pissed. And then you're just like, yo, I hit Zangief's level 3 again. You're probably enjoying everything way more. This quote, the ability to play chess is the sign of a gentleman. The ability to play chess well is the sign of a wasted life. I.e., it's cool to play things and know how to, do it and like be pretty competent. But when you start to be Punk, people think you're a fucking dweeb. I don't think that's true. I think being fucking awesome at stuff is so cool and should be celebrated. I don't think that way. Every day I wake up and I'm like, dude, fighting games are fucking sick. And I've got a sick job and I've got a sick hobby. It's fucking awesome. And I'm happy to play them. And I have faith in the genre because I think there are a lot of cool things happening and have happened recently. So I'm chilling. I don't think it's a wasted life. In fact, the people who have wasted their lives, I think they're fucking beasts. I love watching them play because it's proof of what true investment in the genre can produce, right? And like what the human is capable of if they put their time, energy, effort into something like this, right? That's what I think is fascinating. If you wanted to and you had infinite time, money, and resources and opportunity and coaching and help and stuff, you could get very good at something very quickly. But it's not fair to compare yourself to those kinds of people. A lot of people in the modern era who are like really insanely good at stuff have the ability to explore that because they come from like a background that gave them time and energy and effort and money to like invest themselves in something without fear of like, if I don't go to the coal mines, I'm not going to be able to afford money for winter. You know, we're going to starve this winter. Like that's what happens. If you don't got to go to the coal mines to support things, or the wolves are going to eat your family in your fucking wood cabin, you have a much better chance of being, you know, an incredible whatever you're interested in. And people do it even while being full-time employed or like having other obligations and hobbies and stuff. But you know, that is where like a lot of young prodigies come from, right? This is a funny quote to see on the timeline after Marty Supreme. He's a table tennis player. He plays ping pong. Gwyneth Paltrow's character says to him in the trailer, I won't spoil the movie, but it says to him like, how are you making money? Like, what are you going to do if this pursuit doesn't work off? And he says, the thought of that hasn't even crossed my mind. Some people like that are just freaks. And where does that lead you? Maybe not to the best place sometimes, but some people are like, you know, you see people like that every day in 2XKO ranked. I'll tell you, with the fucking decisions these people are making, they definitely never had a thought of failure in their mind. They've got no fear or concept of consequence. For me, when it came to making content, as an example, I was doing it as a hobby for fun. I didn't think much of it. I just like made videos and I was like, oh, this is fun. When I started like doing it more seriously and I realized it was making me money, I was never concerned it wouldn't work, because with how I was doing things and like my work ethic, the thought of failure never even entered my consciousness, because I was like, this is doing great. And I've got lots of cool ideas and I'm just going to keep working on it. It's going to do well. You got to be a little delusional to have a hobby like this. And some of us are not that silly. We're like, I'm a normal human with realistic expectations about my skill. This is not going to happen. And that's okay. You can excel in some other thing in life. And that's another thing too, is a lot of people who are like savants and incredible at things like this do sort of feel like, man, I got put on this earth and all I did was get really, really good at League of Legends. I could have been a brain surgeon or cured cancer. So, you know, people think like that, I think, even when they're really good at stuff. Imagine playing Street Fighter as a professional and going to big tournaments all year and not winning one. And you're like, this is my job. And I went all year to tournaments and I just never won. And even if you are the best, like, you don't win every tournament, right? Yeah, and I mean, if you're not making content, then what do you do, right? Like, a good example of this is Mena, right? He doesn't really make content. He doesn't also like do stuff besides, he competes. He's a competitor. His goal is to win, and he's winning a lot. You know, if he wasn't winning, like, what would he be doing? You know, the Olympics are insane to me. You know, people who like obsessively train for the Olympics become like Olympic medalists, and then there's like no future. You are able to compete in maybe 2 or 3 games and then it's over. If you wanted to be really, really, really good at wrestling, like let's say you're in the US, right? So you win at the state level when you're in high school, you go to college, you become a collegiate champion, you're an incredible wrestler. There's only 2 paths to make money or like to continue the sport afterwards, which is mixed martial arts, becoming an MMA fighter, or the Olympics, or I guess the WWE. Sure, yeah, that's also a third one. And if you're a competitive person, perhaps WWE doesn't even make sense because it's theater and athleticism mixed. And the Olympics is way worse money. Like, what do you do after that? That is insane. Anyway, after all this yapping about being good at something, P's follow-up is exactly what I've been saying, which is, I don't think there's anything wrong with pursuing excellence in a discipline or hobby. I just think it's good insight that even being the best doesn't guarantee that you'll be fulfilled. Grinding mastery demands a lot of sacrifice. It's true. It's all about the perspective of how you approach this. So I'll say you shouldn't be beating yourself up in this comparison with other people. And what are you playing the game for? What are you trying to do? What are you interested in? And what's your goal here? And sometimes when you ask yourselves those questions, you start to take things too seriously. But, you know, I think it's important to recognize why you're invested in something and like what you care about. There was a guy who went to the TFT Open, by the way, who wore a hoodie that was looking for a TFT girlfriend was his hoodie. It was really popular on social media. People were laughing at it. They thought it was like a good gag. Maybe you get into a hobby because you want to go outside and meet people. You know how often people are like, I'm going to get into fishing or basketball or some hobby because I want to go outside and meet other people. Perfectly reasonable thing that people do, right? That's how people make friends. How do you think I make a lot of friends? I went offline to wrestling matches when I was a coach. You play D&D, right? You go to a game store, you play basketball, you go out, you hang out in these spaces, you meet other people who like the same stuff, you make friends. Does this mean that I'm a gentleman? Yes, if you can play fighting games, that makes you a gentleman. But if you are fuzzy guarding my overhead low mix-up and then perfect pairing the mid on reaction, you might have wasted your life. I'm just saying, if you even know what fuzzy guarding means, maybe you wasted your life. You ever think about that?